with technology. I can't believe you've done as much as you have with only a phone.
I know, man. Sometimes my wife is like, I can't believe I have all these thousands of videos.
Well, we are live. Welcome to Hump Day Rants. We decided not to wait any longer because there's already some people in the chat. Sports and Fitness Rants and I are just getting warmed up here. And I was looking at the my screen. I was trying to play around with Restream and I got stuck with some strange crap on the screen. So if anyone's wondering what that means, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
We're up in the clouds.
Let me
Yo, shout out to everybody in the chat, man. What's up, guys? Rookie 305, Neil Floyd. What's up, man?
Tell us about your big upcoming move.
Yeah, so like I was telling my man AOH, everybody out there in the chat, man. Hopefully I'll be moving into my first house. Me and my wife just bought a house recently. We're very blessed, man. I'm very thankful. So hopefully I'll be able to have a little studio set up. I'm hoping to maybe get a laptop or something so I can have a show like my man AOH, like my man Michael Jordan fans are the best. Have some people call up, interact with you guys, man. So yeah, everything is going great right now, man. Like I said, shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Thank you.
Your counter show to this one is you could have me come on to rant about your sports stuff.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I would love to do some live shows. I did a live show down at the beach when I was on vacation. That was just literally, a Q&A for people to just ask questions or health, fitness, whatever. Man, it was great.
So
shout out to Brazil. I see someone in the chat from Brazil.
Oh, man. We'll have to have you call in if you're willing. So let's start with that because it's funny. I was listening to your rant about that, and I swear everything you said, I was already thinking. Can you guys hear me? I don't even have the microphone up. Man, I had the sound off. I watched the first half of the Brazil game, and to make it bearable, I was watching it with the sound off. I was watching it because I was recording it in case I wanted to break the game down. And we know the commentary is a lot to suffer through, but that's not why I turned it off. I wasn't enjoying the basketball. It did not look like good basketball. Like Embiid sucked. He was playing poorly again. Team USA didn't look amazing, but Brazil looked like trash. And I'm sorry to the guy from Brazil listening. I'm not attacking the country. I haven't really been impressed with the opposition we've faced throughout the Olympics. And I was thinking how last time I gave the example that, hey, it makes sense that the world would catch up because the rest of the world started playing basketball when they're children. And it's a bigger part of their cultures now. But I'm looking at the competition, and I don't know if I'm just watching the wrong games, but it looks like the world's gone backwards a little bit from previous Olympics. What do you think?
Well, no, you're right on the money with that, man. Once again, shout out to everybody out there in the chat. I saw someone from London. Shout out to London. Thank you for all the well wishes on my home, guys. Thank you very much. But yeah, this is what I talked about in my rant yesterday about the Brazilian game. I mentioned the Brazilian team, and I said, these are supposed to be the guys that would be beating the 92 Dream Team. Some team like Brazil. And like we said, this is no disrespect to the Brazilian national team. Much respect for them for qualifying for the Olympics. That's a big deal to them. But when we talk about people saying that the world caught up, the Brazilian team did not look like one of those teams. We all know that South Sudan is not one of those teams because they've recently became a country. They haven't been in the Olympics all these years and they've been beating teams. So they were the 40-point underdog. So how can the world be catching up when you're a 40-point underdog? It doesn't speak to that. Teams like Canada, teams like Australia, teams like France, they don't seem like they would be beating the 92 Dream Team like a lot of people want you to believe. The 92 Dream Team was so far behind. But when you talk about the play, the level of play out there between the United States and the Brazilian team, man, once again, we're shooting 3-point. Joel Embiid hanging out on the 3-point line. Every time he touches the ball, they're booing this man because they know he's a certified clown. And once again, Joel Embiid is out there like a goofball, acting like an 18-year-old. The United States, they're jumping all over the bench every time we make a shot, we hit a layup, anything that goes on, they're jumping around, cheerleading as if they just won the gold medal. I don't get it, man. They don't play with any kind of class. Like when the 92 Dream Team was beating teams down by 30, 40, and 50 points, they did it with a flair. They did it with a swag. They did it with class. They did it with style, man. They dominated teams. And like I said, they
Rants. How many lines you do this morning? God damn it. It's
Hey man, once I get going, I don't stop sometimes.
all right. So the question I wanted to ask for any of the people listening to us right now, have you watched the other games, the non-US games? Did Brazil look better in other games? Did Puerto Rico look better in other games? Has Serbia looked better in other games? I see that Serbia has made it. We're going to face Serbia again, but I'm not excited about that. I'm already tired for Jokic because it's fucking Jokic versus Team USA. Brazil, it's not just the things you were saying about Team USA. Like Brazil looked like they were nervous and just dropping the ball all over the place and not catching, not even difficult passes and fumbling it out of bounds. And I was like, what is happening out there? So if any of you guys want to call in and comment on that, give your own perspective, see if, I'm just watching the wrong games, I'll put the link up in a minute. But that's number one. I didn't think the competition was very compelling. And we didn't even get to see the United States go against France, who was supposed to be one of the best teams for us to compete against. So,
yeah, and why was that though? We once again, if you look at the brackets, if you look at the pool play for the United States, and I'm not knocking or saying anything is rigged, I'm not saying any of that stuff. But once again, it looks like the United States got lucky, so to speak, in the pool play and where they were at and other teams they had to play in the pool. They had an easier bracket. They allowed the other teams to beat up on themselves. So this definitely helps the United States. And to answer your question about the other teams and them playing against each other, I did not see any full games of other teams playing against us. I really couldn't answer that.
It sounds like the Lakers in-season tournament bracket is who we got in the Olympics.
That's exactly when I saw the pool play and I saw the brackets, how it was broken down, I immediately thought of the in-season tournament. Immediately. Because these are the kinds of things that we were talking about. And like I said, I'm not saying that anything is rigged or set up for the United States to win. But once again, when you look at the teams that they had to play in their pool, it's not the same as some of the other teams that had to go against each other.
And this goes way beyond my dislike of LeBron James. I'm not getting to see good basketball. And it's 2024. I should be seeing better basketball from the opposition that we're facing in the Olympics, in my opinion.
Well, once again, this was happening now. See, when we talk about the 92 Dream Team and when we talk about Michael Jordan and the Dream Team taking the game global, when you watch the 92 Dream Team play on the basketball court, that was the first time you watched those guys. You were able to see them and watch the game. You saw a balanced game. You saw a balanced game. You saw cohesion. You saw fundamentals. You saw teamwork. You saw camaraderie. You saw all of these things. This is once again why Chuck Daly never called a single timeout during the entire Olympics. There was no lollygagging for these guys, man. They were out there representing. So the game was great to watch because, like I said, they did it with a flair, with a style that this team doesn't have, that these players, they don't have that. The game that the United States has pushed into international play is what you're seeing out there. A lot more three-point shots, a lot of, like I said, bad dribbling, bad ball handling, bad fundamentals. This is what we're talking about.
And I didn't... Guys, I just threw the call-in link up if you are interested. We'll go a topic at a time. If you didn't know, the description of all the topics we're going to talk about are there. But we're going to talk about the excessive celebration like you talked about. I thought you had a really interesting point with your rant from this morning about miseducating the people watching. There's an entire world of people tuning into basketball and trying to learn about basketball. And Dwayne Wade is spending the time telling things that aren't true and wasting broadcast time talking about LeBron James when LeBron James isn't even involved in the play. And this goes beyond favoritism. You are actually causing people learning about the game not to understand the game.
Yeah. And that's you're right. See, that's the problem. You're not being genuine, and like you said, you're not educating the people out there, the fans. You know, I did a video maybe a month or so back where I talked about the guys that I grew up listening to, the broadcasters that I remember listening to. They educated us, guys like Marv Albert and Mike Fratello and Hugh B. Brown. These guys educated you on the game when you were watching it. So when you listen to Dwayne Wade and he's saying these weird things and he's calling these guys a decorated player, or he's saying this guy's one of the top elite defensive players in the league, it don't add up. When you hear his partner say things like, LeBron James has hit him with the dream shake. It doesn't make any sense because,
Yeah.
like I said in the video,
Yeah.
if the people listening go back and they're like, what is a dream shake? They want to Google the dream shake and they see the video of Hakeem Olajuwon doing the dream shake. They're going to wonder what the hell this guy was talking about. It's not the same thing.
And there were so many examples. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I'll break this down tomorrow. And then by the end of it, I'm like, what's the point? it's so, there's so much. And I have this vision of Joel Embiid completely alone at the top of the key, and he must have delivered that 3-point shot like a turtle on Ambien. And it was the slowest thing I've seen in my life, and it's in the Olympics, and nobody contested it either. And what's this? Why is he celebrating like this? I mean, it's not just childish, but I don't even. I looked it up. I was like, what does Embiid's new thing mean? I know he was doing all this, like pretending like the booze don't hurt his feelings. And we all know that it hurts his sensitive ass. But then he did the like kind of an obscene gesture too. I don't know. What was that?
Yeah, Joel Embiid is, like I said, I haven't watched the full USA games. The Brazil game was probably the longest I watched continuously. And, part of the reason was I wanted to listen and hear what Dwayne Wade was saying. But what I've noticed with Joel Embiid, I watched some of the game against Puerto Rico. This man was showboating with the USA team up 20, 30 points with like 20 seconds to go. He's doing what you're saying, waving up to the fans, I guess telling them to boo louder, whatever the case may be. And when you watch him move on the basketball court and you watch his game, I'm not impressed with Joel Embiid as it relates to some of the other guys. They keep telling me that Patrick Ewing was a nobody and David Robinson was weak, Karl Malone, all these guys wouldn't be able to stand up to Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, and Bam Adebayo. It's an absolute joke, man. And Joel Embiid has been embarrassing himself out there.
I happened to look up and I saw Neil Floyd's comment. You were like, can you please address the guy who keeps ripping on the 90s? I don't know who you mean because there's a bunch of them, but I'll tell you, I just put in my members section me reacting to Commissioner Dynamo talking about this topic, and I kind of went off. Like, I got angry. Because and of course Gilbert Arenas is a part of it. And holy crap. So to answer your question, I've actually addressed it a few times. I'll probably make that one public at some point, but it's in the members section now. It is. It's ridiculous. I'll very briefly let people understand that there's a difference, or I'll try and help people understand that there's a difference between being big and someone who wants the smoke and can handle the smoke. And not only does LeBron James not have the actual toughness or mental toughness to go up against a skinny dude from the 90s, but I was enjoying watching Rockets versus Knicks from 95. Anthony Mason was 6'8", 250. And even if he wasn't 250, he would have murdered LeBron James. If Oakley didn't do it first, Yep. This idea of dropping LeBron James into the 90s like he's some freak that we've never seen before is an illusion that is held by people that have never looked at what happened back then. And we're talking about actual men that don't like men that act like bitches, which means they would teach him a lesson almost in a father figure style. Like, don't bring that fucking crap out here. We will put you on your ass every time you behave that way. LeBron James would retire his first season in the 90s. So, go.
No, you're right. When you talk about LeBron James, shout out to my man Uncut Hoops. I see him in the chat right there. Yo, Uncut Hoops, man, thanks for coming through again on the Wednesday stream, man. But when the things that you were talking about with Anthony Mason, the Charles Oakleys, when we think about the mentality of the players from the 80s and the 90s, the way the game was played, A lot of times you'll hear people say that they did not play defense. All they did was foul people. That's not the case. When you talk about they're just fouling people or they're just fouling, they're not playing defense. No, it's a mental thing. So when you're talking about driving the ball into the lane in the 80s and the 90s, you have to make a decision. Are you going to go in there, take the punishment? Because what are these guys really sacrificing? They're not sacrificing anything as far as them fouling you. It's a common foul. They're not risking getting ejected. They're not risking getting suspended. None of this stuff. So if you're gonna come in the lane and they want to clean your clock out, they're willing to pay that price. These guys today, someone like LeBron James, he don't have the mental fortitude to keep coming back and back and take those kind of hits, that kind of punishment.
I let Andrew in. I've got a caller named Andrew. By the way, I'm going to have some special guests coming on. Andrew.
Oh, we had him on last week, right?
How's it going, guys?
Or a couple of weeks ago.
What's on your mind?
You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. No, once again, I mean, loving you guys, bringing the education to the people here. But I saw LeBron, I saw a picture, and this is just, I think, the microcosm of LeBron and everything you're saying. I mean, I saw he left the game or something yesterday, getting hit in the face or whatever. Dude, you're the biggest, strongest guy on the court. I see a picture. He's like checking to see, dude, there's no blood, there's no nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, come on. Like, I just don't get this guy. And I mean, it's Joel Embiid. He's just so soft. Dude, he looks like he's put together by duct tape.
It's ongoing. It's ongoing. The sad thing is that it's not like this is a special event. Like I had to catch a certain game to witness this sort of behavior from LeBron or Embiid. In fact, I said this in my rant that I put on the members section. Joel Embiid and LeBron James are two of the heaviest dudes in the NBA, and they might be number one and number two in softness in the league. Why are we seeing guys like that soft?
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. And one thing, I was listening to Sports and Fitness Rants, one of his videos recently. Dwayne Wade and the other guy talking about, Jason Tatum, lockdown defender. I honestly didn't even know he didn't make an all-defensive team. I thought he would have. And then another thing I heard them talking about, it was another game previously, that they were talking about how Devin Booker, he's like, oh, yeah, people don't really know, but, this guy's, he's actually a lockdown defender, and, people just think of an offensive guy. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I just remember I called my dad, and I'm like, can you believe this? I just can't believe the world we're living in, honestly, right now. It's just.
Well, when I was listening to Sports and Fitness Rants, by the way, Andrew, did you actually watch any non-USA Olympic matchups? Did you see Brazil face anyone else?
No, I didn't get a chance.
Okay, no worries. I just thought I'd check. Let's see.
The reason why you have these guys the way they are now, the LeBron Jameses, the Joel Embiids, it's like we said, it's the mentality, it's society now. These guys have adapted to this weak, soft society, and everyone's a victim now. Everyone's a victim. Everyone has an issue that they want you to feel sorry for them and all these things. And when you think about Joel Embiid, this is the same guy that once told us he was wrestling lions in Africa. This was close. Now, he came out and said he was joking about that. We get that. But, dude, there's no way in hell anyone's ever going to believe you were wrestling around with a Siamese cat in Africa. No one believes this stuff, man. Because, once again, everything that you show us on the video footage doesn't back you up as being a tough guy. The thing you talk about with LeBron James, he'll be flexing on people out there. He wouldn't be doing that in the 80s and the 90s because, once again, he's soft mentally.
Something else, when I was listening to your rant, I started thinking the advertisers have made their way into what the commentators are saying. There's the advertisements that are paid for by cars and whoever else is doing it. But I feel like the NBA players' agents have infiltrated what the commentators are going to say. It's almost like it was damage control. A lot of the things that they were saying were so untrue. It was almost like the players' agents came in and said, hey, say this about so-and-so, he didn't look very good. Maybe you could say this or that. Like saying that they were booing Embiid out of respect. Come on. Can you get any more absurd? And they were giving Tatum a bunch of compliments. It'd be interesting to get Uncut to call in here because I know that you like Tatum a lot, but Tatum has not looked particularly good the games that I've watched him, at least. which is pretty often. But
I mean, when you think about Tatum, I mean, you're right. I like Jason Tatum. He's a solid two-way player. But what I was saying in my videos, they've lowered the bar for what we talk about when we say great two-way players, or you use the word as a lockdown defender or one of the best defenders in the league. If you're one of the best defensive players in the league, if that's what you're recognized as, that's your reputation that you've developed, then you would have at least made one all-defensive team. And that's what I was saying. Jason Tatum's been in the league at like 6 or 7 seasons and never made one all-defensive team. The same thing for Anthony Edwards. I appreciate the effort that they give on the defensive end. They don't stand around with their hands on their hips. They give the effort. Anthony Edwards is a great athlete, so he's able to do things and make up for, his lack of defensive skills with his athleticism. But once again, he himself has never made an all-defensive team. The great defensive players, the guys that you recognize as great two-way players, these guys are consistently on the all defensive teams. When you think about Drew Holiday, who they never talk about, even though he's out there, he has, I believe, 6 all defensive teams to his resume, more than anyone else on that team other than LeBron James. So these are the kinds of things we have to think about.
Hey, let me run through the topics that we're going to go through today, or try to. Seems like we might spend a lot of time on this one. LeBron being compared to civil rights activists is offensive. I think this goes back to you ranting about Ali a week ago, and I still wanted to chime in on it. We seem to be living in an age of woulda, shoulda, coulda. People like Dwayne Wade saying, hey, if this hadn't happened, I would have achieved this. And, there's no limit to these things. So what's the point of even talking about those? But that's topic 2. Topic 3 is Team USA. Are you allowed to criticize your country's team and still be a patriot? The demise of Skip Bayless. If we have time, we're going to talk a little bit about the demise of Skip Bayless. And why can't LeBronites understand the difference between tough play and dirty play? Because they'll come at me or they'll come at you and be like, you guys can't have it both ways. First you say that we're soft, then you say that we're dirty. It's not the same thing. In fact, dirty play is what soft people do because they can't handle the real hard physical play. You resort to the dirty crap. Anyways, those are the topics. I'll put the link up on the screen again. We're taking callers all day long. You don't have to agree with us. I don't want to be like a Gilbert Arenas show or The Shop. Because, look, as much as I want to try and disagree with sports and fitness rants, it's like our brains are connected. So it's not going to happen very often. Just be civil. Don't be disrespectful. Sure as hell don't drop any slurs. And you can call in and tell us what you think. But be prepared to educate us. Don't just say some crap like LeBron is king. That's not an argument. That's not an argument.
I keep waiting for these people to call up, man. Like I said, it's no problem having these people call up who don't agree with us or have different opinions or different views. But the one thing they must understand is that, once again, man, I'll come with the facts. And this is why a lot of times they can't dispute. I see this guy, Pedro Ramirez. Dude, click the link and call up. Stop typing in the chat. If you don't agree with what we're saying, then call up, man. The link is in there. AOH dropped it. Don't be afraid to call up, man. I want to talk about the Muhammad Ali thing real briefly. That's a complete embarrassment for people like that guy, Dan Le Batard, to call LeBron James the modern day Ali. Once again, you're lowering the bar for LeBron James. You're lowering down Muhammad Ali for LeBron James. It don't make any sense. It's absolutely disgusting.
Got someone named Savion.
Send them in.
Savion. Savion.
You guys probably seen me before, but I joined in I don't remember what the live was, but I joined in a Sunday live.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen you before. Thank you.
Yeah. I
What's
can't
up?
turn my camera on because I don't want to reveal my location.
Okay.
No problem. It's all good.
Yeah. How y'all?
Good. You got a comment on our topics today?
Yeah. The LeBron fanboys. LeBron isn't the GOAT. He
Okay.
isn't. He's not even top 2, top 3, top 4, top 5, top 6, top 7, top 8, top 9, top 10 all time.
That's right.
Drop some specifics for us.
All right, will do. LeBron and his whole antics of it's me, I. He don't make his teammates better. Like we know that he flops and he travels. I see all the stuff that they don't call that favors him. Driving to the rim, bullying him, offensive fouls and more. It's just, when is it gonna stop? Because they keep letting him get away with tic tac stuff, and then they don't call it on the other side. They favor LeBron too much.
I appreciate you calling in, Savion. Yeah, it's frustrating. And he talked about the sideline a little bit, and you, of course, talked about that. Not only is the celebration after every play a little bit childish, but I gotta think that it's actually about themselves. If anyone has an opinion on that, when you're going through that extent of a celebration and being that overly dramatic, are you actually just excited about what your teammate did, or you're like, oh, the cameras are going to see what I'm doing, which then makes it about you, not about your team, not about the USA. Robin, go ahead. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when we talk about the 92 Dream Team and we're talking about the word class, we use that word class, having class, winning with some class, having some integrity, all these things, respecting your competition, respecting the game. This Olympic team, the way that they've been, celebrating, like my man said earlier, the antics of LeBron James and the people that he affects. He's like a disease, man. He affects everything around him. Remember Kevin Durant some years ago said that the atmosphere around LeBron James is toxic, which is why he don't want to play with LeBron James, which is why none of the superstar players, nobody wants to play with LeBron James. So when you talk about the sideline antics, the way these guys are acting, celebrating every three-point shot, jumping up and down for every pass LeBron James does, someone gets a slam dunk, a basic dunk, they're going crazy. They're doing cartwheels on the side. And once again, they're embarrassing themselves because they're not living up to the standard of the 92 Dream Team. They're not winning with that same level of class, even the same level of flair. Like you said, you can't even watch these games. You can watch the 92 Dream Team games. These guys play with the skills, the fundamentals, that love of the game. These guys, man, I think my man on Common Sense actually might have made a video talking about those same kinds of antics that these guys have been doing during the Olympics.
Yeah, I think he did too. I guess we'll get into the Ali thing. By the way, Phenomenal Fitness, if you ever are tuning in on this, I've tried to include you. I've tried to reach out to you because I think it was his channel was the first one that showed me pictures of the inside of LeBron James's school. And as if the museum he built about himself wasn't bad enough, his school is another tribute to himself. Just crap about himself all over the place. But the part I can't get out of my head is this mural of Dr. King, and right next to it is LeBron James's face. And I think LeBron James's face is even bigger than Dr. King's. What kind of a person thinks, yeah, I deserve to be there next to Dr. King? And not only did I deserve to be there next to Dr. King, I'll make my face even bigger. But there's something wrong with your brain. Even if LeBron James had done some great civil rights activism, to just decide, yeah, you know what, that sounds like a great painting. That sounds great.
This is the delusional world that we're living in right now. When you talk about the murals, I immediately think about LeBron James going to LA and then vandalizing his mural the first day it went up. They immediately vandalized his mural. If you relate that or you compare it to a Kobe Bryant, for example, who has hundreds of murals all across the world, none of which have been vandalized, this shows you the level of respect that LeBron James hasn't earned, that he's asking for. So when you talk about Martin Luther King and you have the audacity to put your face next to this man, a great person, an individual who impacted culture, society, the same way as, or the same kind of way as a Muhammad Ali, someone who stood for something. LeBron James doesn't stand for anything. How can he ever be compared to these guys like a Muhammad Ali who sacrificed his years of his career, gave up his championship, all the heat he took because he stood on principle, man. I'm so embarrassed by LeBron James and for any of his fans. You guys are an embarrassment.
Speam Engine has joined us, and I'm sure you'll have something to add on to this. And I was going through my brain. What are all the things that the LeBron fans are going to say to diminish Muhammad Ali in order to excuse LeBron James? You know, does anyone think that LeBron James wouldn't have dodged the draft? Like, people who are LeBron James fans aren't even familiar with the draft or the idea of involuntarily having to go to war to fight a war you don't believe in. And, you know, we could go down a whole wormhole talking about whether or not that war in particular, we shouldn't have even been there. But, you know, Muhammad Ali paid the consequences. It's not like he got off free from making that decision. He paid consequences for it. I'm guessing LeBron James would have found a way not to even pay consequences if he had dodged that draft. But Speem, you haven't gotten to talk. You want to jump in on that topic?
Yeah, it's you couldn't have picked a better time, honestly. The LeBron being an activist thing drives me nuts, in the sense that you talk about Ali and what he gave up. You know, he went to jail instead of fighting a war he didn't want to fight. You know, I think most of us know the quote about, you know, nobody over there called him so and so. And he sacrificed basically the prime of his career, you know, millions and millions and millions of dollars, and who knows what would have happened in between. To me, and again, I'm not going to judge someone's level of activism, but to me, that's like a real sacrifice, right? Not, you know, the school he built is awesome. That's great, but the kids are failing. That's not his fault. But it's obviously not a priority. It's got a sneaker room in it. It's got a room with all the sneakers in it. How does that, who's that benefit? Right. And we've reached a point, and actually probably back in 2021, 2022, where activism was no longer taking action. It was just simply typing out some words or a hashtag, or, you know, if it's Black Lives Matter, let me black out my screen real quick and that'll make a difference. Meanwhile, it's like, yo, I just got fired from this job because I'm Black. It's like, there's no, we've changed the definition completely to actually probably to fit exactly what, you know, LeBron is
Oh, bro, you're a hater. You can't.
I am a hater. Yeah, I know.
Hey, I've got a sports talk only. Do you want to chime in on the Ali thing? I know that's when you called in. Is that the good timing?
Yeah, that's good. But can't really nobody compare to Muhammad Ali. Just everything he stood for, everything he did. I'm a big Ali fan. And, you know, I'm not here to, LeBron is my GOAT, but I cannot compare anyone to that man. What Muhammad Ali stood for.
Well, you
and
know
what he meant to just society in general and the stand that he took. So I disagree with that statement 1,000%.
Yeah, it was weird.
I can't co-sign that. And even the political thing with LeBron James, as far as a lot of people think he's like an activist, but I don't see him that way. He's not, as far as I'm concerned, because when you talk about someone actually taking a stand and being political and, you know, just sacrificing something bigger than themselves, I can't say that LeBron ever did that. I think a lot of that is just a ploy.
Can I
just trying to prop up his image.
Sports talk. Let me correct you real quick. He did give up $3 million of his max salary this year in terms of sacrifice. So let's give him credit for that.
Hoops God joined in, and I wanted to point out two things. You know, you mentioned you said, yeah, but the school is great. In case people don't know, LeBron James's foundation, along with the school system, paid for the school. The school system still had to pay for part of it. But if you don't know, a foundation is a means of bringing in donations from people like, I looked it up, Nike was one of the big donors. So it's not like this came out of its pocket. Just so it's clear. He built a second museum to himself and called it a school. The other when I watched clips of Muhammad Ali, I would see a microphone get stuck in his face all of a sudden, and man, that guy just ripped it off. I mean, he could really spit out a little speech right there on the spot. He was so smart, especially for having his brain knocked around by fists. But LeBron James actually premeditates bringing in a book about another civil rights activist and doesn't have the decency to have at least memorized one line to try and throw off the media if they bother to call him out at all. You don't think Muhammad Ali would have at least read the book before talking about that?
Tom, mute your mic, man.
Oh, my fault.
What up, man?
Why didn't somebody press him? Because I remember that whole Malika Andrews interview. And, you know, when he went on his little spiel about the, you know, he's a good man, blah, blah, blah. Why didn't somebody press him about that? Like, what specifically can you tell us about? Anything other than just nobody pressed it. Just, and then just move on. It's like it's almost like out of a movie. It's like the superstar in a movie that like literally everyone just asks him questions that he handed out to them beforehand. It's disgusting.
So we've got Hoops God, who also served for the United States, and we got two topics that are, related to that. We got dodging the draft, and we've got, is it okay to criticize your country and still be a patriot? And by the way, Hoops God, we have Sports Talk Only is in here too. So you want to jump in, Hoops God?
Yeah. Good afternoon, gentlemen. So we're on the can you be a patriot and criticize your country? Is that the topic?
Sure.
So I would just go from my experience, right? I feel like, yeah, you can criticize your country, in a respectful manner, because again, nobody's perfect, right? And I say that, for example, because when I first got in, my first unit, great NCOs, great officers, leadership structure. I mean, it was phenomenal. Of course, I got moved to another unit, right? I had a high expectation. So when I got to my second unit, it was like a 180. I was like, oh, all right, well, let me adjust, and realize this is my reality, right? But when I'm looking like from a macrocosmic perspective, America does do a lot of great things, but they also do some things that I feel like, what is the purpose? Like, why are we over here in all these foreign affairs? I feel like we should be protecting all of our issues first. Like, let's sweep off our own doorstep. Let's get that stuff resolved before we just jump out here and start saying, well, hey, we're here to help. We'll do this. Like, yo, no. Let them figure their own problems out. We got to get our stuff, situated. So in that aspect, I do feel like you can be critical of your country, as long as, again, like I said, it's in a respectful manner, because I've just honestly never understood the Vietnam campaign. And I hope I'm not offending anybody when I say that, but when I'm looking at North Vietnamese, South Vietnamese, that's y'all's business. What are we doing over there? World War II, completely different. Hey, Japan attacked us at Pearl Harbor. They woke up a sleeping giant. But the Vietnam, like, what business do we have over there, right?
Well, and we're not even criticizing on that level. We're saying that the team, we're talking about sports. Well, no, your points are well taken. I'm just saying we aren't even going that far. We're just saying, can our athletes act like adults? That's all I'm saying. Can our athletes act like adults when they're on national television? I'm no expert. I'm not cutting you off, Hoops God. I just want you to let you know that I'm letting someone in. And Hoops God, finish your sentence, and we'll have I'm no expert chime in. So no expert. Can you turn down your background music?
So I would say with the athletes, right? If you're going to, I guess, be social activists, if that's the right term, well, don't pick and choose when you want to use your voice. Use your voice on everything. Don't say, hey, yeah, we're going to speak up here, and then there's something else going on. All of a sudden, you're quiet. I just feel like with the athletes, it's kind of like they're not as, I would say, independent as they would want us to believe they are. Because if they speak on a certain topic, they will get thoroughly reprimanded. But then they'll tell them, hey, y'all go ahead and speak on this. So, yeah, I don't know. I observe what I see, and then it's like, okay, I come to a conclusion like, okay, they're not allowed to speak on this clearly, because if they were, we would be hearing some action. We'd be hearing some static. So that would be my take on that part.
Is that death metal I'm hearing, or what am I hearing?
Yo, hello?
Yes, sir.
What's up?
I'm no
Can
expert.
you hear me?
Yeah, you want to chime in on one of these topics?
I can't hear you guys.
All right, I can hear you. And unfortunately, it's mostly background noise.
Hey, at least it's not me this time.
Oh, yeah, we'll wait
I
there.
on something.
Hey, Sports, you haven't spoken in a while. I'm sure you're chomping at the bit. Go ahead.
No, I wanted to touch on a couple of things. I wanted to touch on something that my man Steam Engine said when he talked about the activism, and how it relates now, how it's changed. Because he's running the money with that. When you talk about a lot of these celebrities, these quote unquote activists, people who use their celebrity to speak up against things, like he said, they're not taking any actual action. They'll maybe tweet about something, they'll make a certain comment on Instagram or something like that, but they won't actually put their feet behind these movements. They won't actually get down there, get dirty, sacrifice like a Muhammad Ali would. When you talk about the reading of the book, the Malcolm X book, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali stood side by side with Malcolm X for that movement, man. He was there with these guys, man. Muhammad Ali gave up a lot of time, like I said, in his career. And this guy, LeBron James, they're going to call him a modern day Ali, even though he was fake reading the Malcolm X book. And once again, why did LeBron James fake read the book? Why did he not watch the movie with Denzel Washington in it? Because LeBron James wanted to make it seem as if he's intelligent by reading a book. This is what LeBron James wants you to believe. He's smart. LeBron James is not smart. All the LeBron James fans out there, he is not an intelligent person, man. When you hear him speak, you can tell he's not intelligent. And I want to touch on something Hoop God was talking about when we're talking about the patriotism and you can criticize your country or critique your country or things of that nature. What you should be doing is holding your country to a standard. The same thing that we talk about in all these channels, all these athletes, the people, you hold yourself to a standard. You stand on values, on principles, and you should hold your country to those same values, man. When I served in the Navy, I always told people who asked me about my time there that it was absolutely outstanding. One of the best decisions I ever made in my life. But I also told them, you get what you put into the military. You get what you put in. That's what it is. If you want to lollygag in the military, you want to be upset that you were there, you're not going to get the most out of it. And like my man Hoop Guy was saying, sometimes you're going to be, commanded by other people that maybe you don't really like. But I always told people, I may not have liked the guys that were in charge of me, maybe the first class or my chief. Maybe I didn't like them, but I respected them. I respected them. They always had their uniforms crispy clean. They were always on time. And what did they do? They held themselves to a standard and they held us to a standard. So that's what you want to do. Hold your country to a standard. You should want your country to be better.
You ever heard the saying, one knife sharpens the other? Like a true friend isn't a dude who just compliments you no matter how badly you're screwing up your life. They tell you the things that you need to hear. Yeah. And I actually got kind of sad typing in the description of the video I put out the other day. I'm like, why? I actually have to explain to people that when you don't hold the United States to a standard, you're kind of betraying the United States. It's like why everything is collapsing, because we're all saying, oh, well, that's okay. You can act like that as long as you have an excuse. That's not what we're supposed to be proud of. We're supposed to be higher than that. Let's give I'm no expert another try. Let's check the audio.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
That sounds better.
Cool. I just wanted to, tune in and listen to you guys rant and, spit game. But Muhammad Ali is my favorite athlete ever. I just wanted to correct Steam Engine. He didn't actually go to prison. He faced prison time for standing up for his beliefs, but still, yet all the same, point still the same.
Thank you.
And one more thing, the term GOAT, we can argue, comes from Ali himself, calling himself the greatest of all times. So, and of course, LeBron's not an activist. He's a Twitter activist. So,
right. Yeah. And, I had a feeling that, I'm not saying you did this, but it came up anyway. I was like, I bet you a LeBron fan will criticize Ali for saying that he's the greatest. You know what? That was bravado. That was not him disrespecting all these generations of basketball players. We're talking about him saying, I'm better than all the competition here right now. Come and get me. And the thing is that when you're in a one-on-one sport and the only thing between you and failure is yourself, that's a little bit different. LeBron James runs out and finds other people to carry his ass and calls himself the GOAT. Completely.
Right, and then scapegoat him after the fact.
Oh my God! Right?
So he's actually the scapegoat. That's what he is.
Yeah,
but
nice.
But it just one more thing as what you're speaking to, Ali would actually say that he thought Sugar Ray Robinson was the best or Joe Louis was the best. Guys that paved the way for him. So Anyways, that's all I wanted to say.
Something about what you just said, though. Because when you talk about Muhammad Ali saying the greatest of all times, you're around the money with that. And what you guys are alluding to, it was a mindset for Muhammad Ali. He really believed he was the greatest of all times. You have to have that belief when you're a boxer. When you're
Right.
stepping in that ring, you have to believe that no one can beat you. But
Right.
Muhammad Ali didn't need the validation from the people. He didn't
No.
need us to believe he was the greatest of all time. LeBron James needs the validation from everybody around him to agree
Right.
with him because he don't believe it deep down like Muhammad Ali did.
Right.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say one more thing. And you had to sell sports differently in the 60s and 70s than you do in 2024, the 2000s. Like, we have complete access. There's so much more coverage. You know, I heard Colin Cowherd call LeBron James an American hero this morning. So,
son of a bitch.
I mean, so you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. That's why I prefer to listen to you know, YouTubers like you guys than the lamestream media, because it makes me throw up in my own mouth listening to their fucking shit. It's ridiculous.
Well, thank you for the support. Thanks for calling in, and and thanks for correcting Steam Engine. We're not here to be afraid of being corrected. We're here to talk about facts, and we all help each other learn. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
I was also going to mention, and another difference that separates Ali and LeBron. Ali would go on those news stations and banter, with those reporters.
Dude, he was so on the spot. Like Sports and Fitness Rants was talking about LeBron James not being that intelligent. We hear everybody always saying that he's intelligent, but when he's talking, it's slow. He fills in the gaps with curse words. Yep. He fills in the gaps with prepositions and conjunctions.
Don't forget whatever the case may be.
Right.
Everything's whatever. He never knows what the case is.
I couldn't believe. I was actually flabbergasted that Muhammad Ali could just be jogging down the road, get a microphone in his face, and spit out some of the things that he did. I was like, man, that guy could have been a lawyer. He could have been a debater. He could have been a poet. We got anyone in the waiting room? Who hasn't spoken in a while? Speem? Hey, what the hell you do?
What the hell got here? My lighting's all screwed up. I can talk and do this at the same time. But what do you want me to bitch about?
No, actually, I like it when you're quiet. That's awesome.
No, well now I'm talking. Now give me a topic, damn it.
Well, look, we actually shot through these. Let's go back just so the callers know what we're talking about. LeBron being compared to a civil rights activist is offensive. The woulda, shoulda, coulda era of people saying this is what might have happened. Team USA criticizing Team USA. We haven't talked about the demise of Skip Bayless yet. And we kind of touched on the weird thing about LeBron fans not being able to understand the difference between being tough and being dirty. And then I saw an email from you saying you sent me a clip, but that doesn't do me any good now.
Okay.
But I'll look at it. I'll look at it later.
Yeah, well, it basically just highlights a lot of the hard hits from the 80s and 90s and how, these plumbers, quote unquote, just got up, bloody nose, got up. First thing they're ready to do is swing. And sometimes they do swing. And then you compare that to players today. We'll stick with LeBron. After he lays down on the ground, he's not saying a word to the person that put him there. Or if he's putting someone on the ground, they're a third of his size. But, let's see if he talks to, Embiid like that, if Embiid's in the paint. Or any other big man. He's in the 80s and 90s. It didn't matter who put your dick in the dirt. You got up and you tried to fight him, and that's not a thing anymore. It's just let me lay here, play victim, and then I'll tweet about it later. I'll go on Instagram and say I should have done something. Speaking of woulda, coulda, shouldas, I should have done something, but I didn't because I'm the bigger person, which is literally and figuratively true.
Well, here's where it gets tricky. I don't actually want to condone fighting on the basketball.
That's fair. You're right. You are right.
You should be ready to defend yourself if somebody does you dirty, instead of the backwards backpedal boxing. What I am trying to draw a picture in people's minds is that these guys are getting hit every play, and you play through it. Today, people barely get touched, and people are falling on the ground. Mm-hmm. And LeBron fans will be like, "Don't say that we're soft." and then complain about, oh God, how can I word this correctly? Like when you see an opportunity to take a cheap shot at somebody and you take that, that's cowardly. It's not tough.
Well, it's like when he set that hard screen on that guy. What was the redheaded dude on the Warriors?
Oh, yeah. No,
I forget his name. He set this crazy hard screen on him for no reason. Like I forget who the point guard was at the time, but he didn't even need the screen because LeBron was there big enough and the dude was small enough. He said, "Let me take this screen," which, by the way, was an illegal screen.
I see King Speech Row. I'm going to let you in a second. Sports, you got something to spit?
Well, we're talking about it's all about the mentality. It goes back to the mentality for these guys that they just don't have. When you guys mention LeBron James and some of these clowns in the chat, I'm keep waiting for you guys to call in. You guys are supporters of LeBron James. I want you to think about this for a second. LeBron James is 6'9", 260 pounds. If you saw this man in real life, you would think he was a mountain of a man. You probably have never seen someone as big as LeBron James is. But when you watch LeBron James on the basketball court, what do you notice? That LeBron James is always what? Faking injuries, or he's what? Milking everything as if it's exaggerated. So you see a play where LeBron James gets tapped on his head. This man took 10 minutes out of the game. He took 10 minutes out of the game, holding his head, sitting on the sideline, making a whole scene. Everyone had to wait for LeBron James. This happens almost every game for LeBron James. He's rolling around on the court. All of these things, man. This is the problem with a lot of these guys, man.
Gilbert Arenas would actually compliment that. Colin Coward would actually compliment that. They'd say that that's smart basketball. Flop, get yourself some rest because you need rest. No, it's not. That's not respectable.
You guys remember when Chris Paul supposedly took that hard foul on LeBron, where he pulled his arm down and LeBron?
Oh man,
you remember that? So what's funny about that is if you go back and look, as the referees and players are moving to the other side of the court, LeBron actually gets up and goes over to where the crowd is and lays back down.
No, you're right.
To bring the attention. And I'm not saying that wasn't a legit injury, because I could see how you maybe could like. I mean, I know it wasn't, but devil's advocate, like torn bicep, maybe. But we're talking about Chris Paul here and LeBron. Oh, go ahead.
CJ McCollum tweeted out "Actor of the Year." I remember that.
Oh,
that was hilarious. Like, bro, get your big overgrown ass up. What are you doing?
He was airborne before he made contact with Paul. It was ridiculous.
Like, man, exactly. Get your big clumsy ass up so we can get back to the game. You know, you're just tensing up and cramping up, laying there. Just get up.
So I wanted to wrap on that real quick. When I think of dirty, right, and y'all just hear me out. I think of the Bad Boy Pistons. Now, granted, I love the Bad Boy Pistons. Somebody got to wear the black hat, but yes, they were too excessive with their hard fouls. Now, when I think of tough, I think of the Chicago Bulls. I think of the Doberman defense. I think of the 96 Bulls, of course. Like, they could suffocate you with their defensive effort, but they wasn't taking like dirty and cheap shot tactics. You know, I think that's what the Pistons were doing. And then like the 92 Knicks, I think they were just a tough defense. I don't think they resorted to like cheap shots. You know, it's just this is hard physical basketball. And I think that's what makes the game a little bit more exciting. Quiet as Skip, if you go check the Pacers, that was a stiff defense. A lot of people don't give them credit. And Jalen Rose, when he slid his foot underneath Kobe Bryant's ankle, now I think that's dirty because you're intentionally trying to injure one of the better players on the opposite team to give yourself the advantage. But to give Jalen Rose his respect, he admitted, he was like, yeah, man, we couldn't do nothing with Shaq, so we had to do something. So the fact that he was man enough to own it, you know, I salute him, but I think there's a big difference in being tough and then being dirty.
We had a caller who dropped out. If you want to try back, go ahead. I didn't boot you if you're wondering.
You made some great points there about the New York Knicks defense. If you guys remember back in those rivalries with the 90s Knicks, when Pat Riley came in, him and Phil Jackson were always going back and forth in the newspapers, in the press, because Phil Jackson was complaining about the Knicks style of defense, and Pat Riley was saying, we're not ballerinas. We're out here to play basketball. It's a grown man sport. And I always thought the New York Knicks were like the Detroit Pistons, except they were not dirty, like you said. They played hard physical defense the way that we like it. But they weren't clotheslining Michael Jordan in midair. They weren't trying to grab Michael Jordan's legs and twist his ankle. They weren't elbowing him when he was on the ground. They weren't hitting Michael Jordan after the whistle. If you watch a lot of the old Detroit versus Chicago Bulls games, you'll notice that they're fouling these guys after the whistle. So if there's a foul call, the whistle blows, they'll throw it on the elbow. Dennis Rodman, Bill Laimbeer, even Isaiah Thomas, you'll see him doing a lot of these dirty tactics. The only guy that I respect on that team as far as not being a dirty player or taking cheap shots was Joe Dumars. He was the only guy that held on to his class, man, during all those battles. And that's why Michael Jordan always said that Joe Dumars was his hardest competition, man. And he respected Joe Dumars, the competitor, man. So you run the money when you talk about a lot of these defenses, even the Indiana Pacers. I remember Michael Jordan saying he hated playing against Indiana Pacers because every time he played a game against them, he left that game with scratches on his arm or bruises on his body. They would run Michael Jordan through screens because he was guarding Reggie Miller. So they would bump Michael Jordan and hit him in these screens to beat him up physically. And there were no fouls called, no crying from Michael Jordan, no flopping and flailing around on the floor, none of this stuff.
Callers, thanks for your patience. King's Speech is back. Oh, geez. King's Speech literally hung up as I clicked on him. Nick, you are on instead of King Rowe.
Hi, I don't know if you can hear me properly.
I can.
Perfect. I'm Nick. Nice to meet you all. Thanks for all the good work that you've been doing. I really do appreciate it. It's not just entertaining, it's very, very useful. And I would like to make a point that I feel is very important to differentiate. Obviously, you have the old heads on one side and the bronzesexuals on the other side. The new school of, James Harden is a GOAT and blah, 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 blah. However, I think that the new school has a very misplaced frustration towards the old heads, that they think that everything is about LeBron James, which it really isn't. I mean, the guy is who he is. He is going to do what he's going to do. He has his own failures. He has his own successes. However, about 10, 15 years ago, there was such a change in the way that things are interpreted, and the standards have gone lower and lower and lower and lower to the point in which you have a 24-hour news media cycle that is shoving this guy down your throats and telling you that it's a shit sandwich, but it's extremely delicious, and you should not just eat it, but you should be happy to eat it and say, "Thank you, sir, please can I have some more?" That's the main frustration of the old heads rather than LeBron James as a person. Hence why all of the arguments of he's a good father, he is an amazing person, he's donating to charity, really have no impact on the actual culturological difference between the standards of the old heads, the people who have seen real greatness, compared to whatever the hell is happening now. Honestly, I don't even know how to classify it.
Yeah, Nick, I agree with what you're saying, but when does somebody take accountability and just say, I mean, there's one thing. God, look, the league decided that it was going to be LeBron, and 24-hour news cycle has decided that it's LeBron. Like, I didn't even have to hear Sports and Fitness Rants ranting about how they were glazing him yet again in the Brazilian game, because when I had the game on mute, the camera kept going to LeBron James, even though he wasn't even playing, which means I know the commentators are telling me some more crap about LeBron James that doesn't need to be talked about right now. The thing is, LeBron James is eating it up, and you could say, hey, enough is enough. You could be a guy who does not call himself the GOAT. They made the path very desirable for someone who would actually be happy to feed his own ego. So,
very much so. I completely agree with this. I wanted to make the point that people keep focusing. When I say people, I mean the supporters of this person. They keep focusing on who he is and what his accolades are, and that is, firstly, it's highly debatable. Well, it's not really a debate. to be fair. It's, he's proven that he is a massive compulsive failure over and over again on pretty much any standard that a normal person would have as a standard. However, the massive cause of discourse is a very big divide in mindset. People think that committing offensive fouls and not getting called for them is just superior ball handling. Breaking the rules of the game is superior ball handling. These players are just more
crab
skilled.
dribbling.
Yeah, it's absolute bullshit. And they can go and read it by themselves. This is not a random YouTube guy saying, "Oh, these are the rules. You youngsters don't know nothing." It's nothing like. You can go to the official site. You can read it for yourself. And the rules keep getting broken. And the most important part about the people who are supposed to inherit the torch now from LeBron James as the face of the league, they get constantly put down. People like Nikola Jokic get constantly put down just so that this guy could continue his legacy or whatever the fuck. I'm sorry.
Nick, you're completely right. I gotta have you do some narrations too. He's got a narrator voice.
Why we gotta be old heads though? Why can't we just be MJ fans? When did that happen?
I didn't even fight it. I don't even care.
Truth tellers, that's all. Just truth tellers.
Right. No, which means hater. You can't call out something that's incorrect. Michael Jordan fans are the best is in the waiting room. I'll let you in. I'm going to take a minute and acknowledge the super chats. Thanos, Snap Feminism, is saying LeBron is the anti-GOAT. Nickname is courtesy of @the real mind crime. Thank you. Thank you, Thanos. Yeah, I thought about doing a reaction to a reaction. Mind Crime does a bunch of reaction videos. It's like, if I want to sit back and relax and have some fun, I'll just do a reaction to a reaction. Willie Williams, thank you very much for the $5 super thanks. For a weak era, the 90s, if you think and anyone top 10 to 15 of all time, Jordan played against the majority of them. Nobody will be.
That's a great point.
To this era. Yeah, that's true. Unless the commentators will tell you, though, they'll go into the Olympics and tell you how highly decorated the undecorated Tatum is.
Yo, shout out to Politicus Rex. What up, Rex?
What up, Rex?
What's his comment? Do you want to read it?
No, he was just saying the whole crew is here. He said he gave us the thumbs up.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, and Michael Jordan fans are the best.
Yo,
what
Dart.
What you got to say?
What's up, Dart?
Well, first, I have to tell everyone that Michael Jordan fans are the best.
It never gets old.
It does.
Just like LeBron's shoulder shrug, it never gets old.
Never gets old.
No, I'm being a bad boy, and I can get away with this, so that's why I'm doing this. I can't do it every Wednesday, but I felt like doing this since I'm going to be traveling, since I'm an international man of mystery, multiple places over the next month. So I figure I'll take my liberty here.
Hey, caller, did you have a question?
Yeah. So, can you fill me in of everything you said during the last one? Let's start from the top.
Hey, by the way, you clowns on Sunday, every single round, you're like, has so-and-so been taken? And I'm high and drunk, and I could keep track of who was taken.
No, Hoop God was killing me. He's like, is whoever still on the board? It's like, you know they're still there.
Hey, the more I think about Penny Hardaway, that was not such a bad pick at all. Anyway, but we're not going to rehash that. Gary's in the waiting room. Let's see what Gary has to say, and then we're gonna, since white boy Michael Jordan fans are the best joined, we're gonna talk about Skip Bayless.
Can I ask
Hey,
a
how y'all
question real
doing?
fast before Gary says something?
Yeah, okay, Gary, you can be here. Let Michael Jordan fans are the best talk real quick.
2 seconds, because I'm running through the 2K simulations.
Oh.
AOH, I don't know if you'd like to commentate. Robin's going to be commentating on the 2K simulation. Same with
God.
you, Steam Engine. Y'all are welcome to come. Just putting it out
Absolutely.
there. Would you be
Yeah,
interested,
absolutely.
AOH?
No, I don't care about 2K at all.
I didn't think you would be. That's why I simulated our first game.
He
But I
told me
figured
that
I'd ask.
verbatim. I don't care about 2K ... at all. Like that, he
Okay.
sent that in an email to me.
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Steam
true.
Engine brought that trash to me. I was like, no. Can you guys explain to me why this is so alluring?
What the ratings thing?
Yeah, the 2K thing.
It's
You're talking about a video game, right?
It is a video game, but it's still supposed to mirror real life somewhat. And the ratings hold no power to me. I could give a shit. I just think it's more weird sports injustice when you got guys that are like, we're not going to like, you got guys, Devin Booker, LeBron.
Stop. You guys got me to talk about 2K even though I didn't want to. Stop.
I tried to stop myself.
Gary, you're up. And Gary went off screen. He couldn't even stand listening to this 2K crap.
This guy's sports talk only. What are you talking about? He says Michael Jordan. Why does Michael Jordan have a 27-58 record versus Celtics, Pistons, and the Lakers in the 80s? Well, I'll ask you this. Why does LeBron James have, a 22-33 record in the finals? Why is LeBron James always losing? You guys are idiots, man.
Wait a minute. We had that guy on. He called in.
Yeah, and you see, he knows what he did, though. He tried to say he was a LeBron James fan on the low, and then started talking about Muhammad Ali real quick, man. The dude's a clown.
Gary, do you have something specific on one of these topics?
No, nothing specific. I just wanted to call in again, let y'all know I appreciate everything you do.
Nice.
Sports and fitness rants. Keep those fitness videos coming. I'm definitely watching them. I just want to tell you, I don't know how y'all got the energy to continue to do this, because it's a lot of times where I like give up with the LeBron stands. Like you can't reason with them. They don't understand logic.
I love it.
I did. I recorded the Brazil game and I was like, oh, what am I going to do with this? Tell people the same thing I said the last 85 times. I've got other things to do than edit that Brazil game. And then Sports and Fitness Rants was ranting about it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, anyone who actually wants to see it can see it and hear it. It's in your face if you're willing to see the truth.
Yeah, so it's just kind of weird. Like, you tell them something and they rebut it, and it's like, this is a fact. Like, how are you rebutting a fact? So y'all keep doing what you're doing. I'm here for it.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks a lot for the support, Gary. Thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Let's move into Skip Bayless, or he'll get left out entirely. I've been called Skip Bayless. I don't know if that's laziness, racism in a way, just because I criticize LeBron and I'm white, or if it's just because I criticize LeBron and everyone who criticizes LeBron is a Skip Bayless. But I think Skip Bayless's demise is because he just didn't stick to being Skip Bayless. He got so soft. He got so soft. He was more of a LeBron complimenter than anything.
His first couple years on TV, you go back and watch those First Take episodes, and he would just hammer on the Cavs and LeBron, and just even after LeBron's first 2 chips with Miami, Skip was always saying this. That he always had something bad to say. They always mentioned that. And over the last couple of years, he started to kind of ride the fence a little bit, and now he's the greatest this, and now he's the greatest that. And it's like this transition took place. Like maybe he's on clutch. Maybe we entered the like the dark timeline or something like that. He's not the same person, and it's obvious. And the whole deal with him and Shannon Sharp, it started off great, and then Shannon Sharp ended up doing some stereotypical stuff. I'm trying not to cuss. And I think he just lost the will to keep doing it after all that.
Does anyone have anything to say about this? Is anyone charged up about it? Anyone?
Go ahead. Who got?
So speaking on what Speem said, I vividly remember, and this is before First Take even took off. Like, Skip was kind of, I would say, even keel. But when LeBron started to flame out in those playoff games, that's when Skip started to ramp it up. And I remember in 2009 specifically, him and Jalen Rose, and he was like, he started calling him LeBrick and
water pistol feet,
the frozen one.
But I didn't know that in 2010 when he lost to the Celtics, actually it was Cosgrove and the Real Mind Crime did a live stream on it. I didn't know LeBron James faked the elbow injury when he made the free throws in 2010. This was against Chicago. They were up by 4 points. He went on to subsequently shoot the next free throw left-handed. Now, the reason he done that is because he had to set up a what do you call it? A premeditated excuse. So when he lost to the Boston Celtics, he was dealing with an elbow. But I'm like, wait a minute. You weren't dealing with this elbow when you were dunking the ball. Now, all of a sudden, you got an elbow injury. So then I got to thinking, okay, I watched that post-game interview. Well, right after the game, the interview with it was Skip. I think it was what's his name, Rob Parker. And Skip said he has all the Batman physical tools, but he has the mentality and the intangibles of Robin. I was like, oh wow. He said LeBron James will not win a championship with that style of play. And I'm like, Skip was calling this out way back then. But then, like Spoon said, you fast forward to today or 2024, and all of a sudden, he started speaking so glowingly and waxing poetically. Like, Skip, are you doing this to save your career, or have you been compromised? Because something ain't adding up. But Skip he should have just stayed who he was. I mean, don't try to jump ship now. You made your name by being critical. I mean, sometimes I guess if you want to say you went overboard, but hey, we needed somebody out there to tell the truth. And I've always said Skip was a necessary evil, a necessary truth teller, whatever category you want to put him in. He was necessary because everybody else, it was just full on glaze mode.
Mike Lowry, I see you in the waiting room, but I'm going to let the panel talk about this a little bit before letting you in.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about it. I wanted to say something about it too, since I usually,
all right, Dart.
when we have the panels, I'm usually moving everyone else around the talk. So I wanted the thing with Skip Bayless, man, is that I think he performed better in one-on-one situations. When he went and he lost Shannon Sharp, he started bringing 3 or 4 guys around where they'd gang up on him. Let alone he is getting older. He doesn't really have that fire or that zeal that he used to have. So I think him getting ganged up by a bunch of guys and trying to be more of a moderator nowadays really sunk the ratings of Undisputed versus him just trying to being the star. That's really, I think, what killed him in respect to everything that's gone on recently with Undisputed after Shannon Sharp left, is because he's not the same guy anymore. It's usually him being the star, coming at somebody with whatever he's saying, but he doesn't do that anymore.
I think his career was screwed the second he told Shannon Sharp to put his glasses back on. Yeah. Or whatever that was when they were about to. Once that happened, I was like, yeah, Skip's done. There's no really coming back from that.
Why can't I don't understand. What does that mean? Something that I don't understand?
So I forget what the circumstance was. I believe a young football player was hurt, injured, or killed, something terrible, and they started getting into this whole Twitter battle. Came into the show, everything was supposed to be peaceful, and it got serious quick. And Skip's yelling at Shannon, put your glasses back on, because Shannon's taking his glasses off and throwing.
But what does that mean?
Like don't try to fight me. Sit back down. Like you're not gonna fight me on it.
So Shannon Sharp implicated that he was ready to get violent, and Skip's the bad guy.
No, this is words. They were. It was somehow Tom Brady became a part of the topic, and Skip was like, "Well, he's better than you," and Shannon was like, "I'm a 3-time." No, he said, "I'm a 3-time champion, Pro Bowler, some Hall of Famer," and he was like, I never said I'm better than Tom Brady, and I think it was like some things got misconstrued, and it was already like tempers flaring anyway. But yeah, like when he took his glasses off, and he was going on his little rant, and Skip was like, "Well, just put your glasses back on," And if you're looking at it from a standpoint, it's kind of like, oh damn, like he's being condescending, right?
Damar Hamlin.
Right, Damar Hamlin, but that's how you would interpret it. But it was just like you could see the writings on the wall, like. Eventually, it was gonna come to that climactic conclusion. I hate to say it, but I think a lot of people saw that coming.
Robin, you got something to say, or should I let a caller in?
Yeah, I wanted to touch on a couple things you guys said. Skip Bayless. I was watching Skip Bayless when he was on ESPN, and it was called Cold Pizza. That was
Yeah,
way back in the day, man. A lot of people don't even know about Cold Pizza. It was
right.
Cold Pizza first. That was way before Stephen A. Smith or any of these other guys came on there. I was watching Skip Bayless, and this guy was legit because it wasn't just about LeBron James. It wasn't just about basketball. He talked about the Dallas Cowboys a lot. He was a huge Cowboys guy. He talked about a lot of things. But when you talk about the downfall of Skip Bayless, it has a lot to do with his age. Like you guys mentioned, you're getting older. You can't keep up with a lot of this stuff, man. Skip Bayless is in good shape for someone his age, but the man is old. And I've also talked about Skip Bayless losing his flair, losing that, that oomph when he's having these debates and he's getting
Yeah.
out-yelled by someone like me. He's being out-yelled by a Shannon Sharp, someone who's louder than him, who's more aggressive. And I don't know if you guys have heard about Chris Carter's comments recently about his time with Skip Bayless. And he essentially said that Skip Bayless was one of those guys where he would talk down to these professional athletes as if he knew more than them or all these kinds of things. And Chris Carter said that he told him off the air, if you ever disrespect me like that again, I'm going to punch you in your nose. I'm going to break your face, he said. So when you talk about Skip Bayless and the downfall of Skip Bayless, man, it was one of those things where he was on TV too long. And he, like I said, he just kind of lost his steam a little bit. I mean, over the last, 5 or 6 years, sometimes when I listen to Skip Bayless talk, it's like he can't even defend Michael Jordan the right way against someone that's not. It's so easy to debate these LeBron James fans, but Skip Bayless, he couldn't do it. I mean, I'm looking at this guy's sports talk. He's still chatting in the comment section, not saying anything. He hasn't said one educational thing yet. He's talking about Michael Jordan being swept in the 80s. Michael Jordan never got swept in a 4-game series, a 7-game series, my man. And you're talking about Michael Jordan being swept in the 80s when he was in his first couple of years in the league. How many times has LeBron James been swept in his prime, in the peak of his careers? So you sound stupid, man.
All right.
Real quick, AOH.
I'm going to let Mike Lowry in, but three other things about Skip Bayless. When you have Keyshawn Johnson, who doesn't do a single second of prep for the show as a co-host, you're not helping your cause.
He don't even tuck his shirt in.
Every time that Skip Bayless actually brought some facts and Shannon Sharp raised his voice, Skip just cowered away. So you couldn't even have a debate because one guy would just get angrier and the other one would have to shut up. And his current hosts don't even say anything intelligent enough to keep you watching. But Mike Lowry, I'm finally letting you in. Thanks for your patience.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on once again. I appreciate everything you guys do, man. The live stream with the 2K draft was very interesting. I was at work the whole time, man. Y'all kept me entertained the whole time. It was pretty lit. You set it off AOH with the first pick, man. With the Penny Hardaway pick, bro. You started the madness with that. So keep up the good work on the drafting, man.
Hey man, I was just having fun. I'd been having a tough day. YouTube was blocking everything. I just needed to hang out with my boys here and have a little fun.
Man, you gotta have fun with the draft, man. You gotta have fun. But I have two quick points, guys. I do want to talk about the Skip Bayless I guess firing, but mainly I want to talk about I just want to make this one quick point about LeBron James and I guess his I wouldn't say it's like a cult following, it's like a cult following. I get into it with a lot of my friends that are around my age, a little bit younger, like 30s, and we get into it about LeBron. And then, they always pull up, it's funny, they always want to pull up podcasts from, not podcasts, but from Nick Wright. They always pull up Nick Wright every single time. I'm like, oh my God, here we go with this Nick Wright stuff. But they always want to do that. And I noticed something about all these LeBron fans. They don't watch games. Mm-hmm. If you guys notice, they don't watch whole games. I'm a Wizard fan, so I'm a struggling basketball fan. It's hard for me to watch Wizard games. I go to the game sometimes, it's hard. But I stick with my team. I know real basketball, so it's hard for me to watch Jordan Poole do what he does out there. It's very difficult, but I'm a Wizard fan. I understand the game. I can tell they don't watch games because if they did, they would understand what LeBron does. But they don't watch games; they watch highlights. And what highlights, you see the shoulder shrug, you see him dunking, he might get a steal or some fluky crap. He does it like 4 times a game, not like Jordan. Jordan used to pluck people. transition, and finish. It was one whole take. Now with the LeBron thing, they kind of like Jordan Reeves will get the steal, and then he'll kind of push it up court, and then the camera will move to LeBron grabbing the ball and then finishing and then doing the shoulder shrug. And that's what they see. They're like, oh, he's the greatest. Look at him. He's running down the court like a Giselle big ass dude finishing, but they don't watch the whole game. They don't see that he has 6 to 8 turnovers. They don't see that he's literally grabbing the rebound out of his own teammates' hands. What I hoop, I'm 40 years old, y'all. I still hoop on the court. Anybody over 6 foot does not mess with LeBron James. I'm telling you that right now. Anybody over 6 foot that plays basketball, I'm telling you, if somebody tried to grab the rebound out my hand as I'm rebounding on the court, I'm telling you, we might fight. He on my team. We might fight. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you smoking something? You're never gonna be on my team again. Because I'm not just grabbing the rebound. I'm one of those like dudes that rebound and transition. So I'm grabbing the rebound. I'm looking down court to transition to a better play. So it's like guys trying to grab the rebound on my hand. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it matters everything. That's just one my little point. I just want to get that off my chest, y'all. Anybody over 6 foot is not a LeBron James fan. I'm telling you that now.
Bro,
second thing.
I am not a LeBron James fan. I'm 6'3", 6'4".
And I'm 6 foot even. I've never
6'1".
liked his style of play. Never.
You're dead on. I'm 6'1". That's crazy.
Nobody. I'm telling you, anybody over 6 foot, they're going to be like, "What?" They're going to look at you crazy. The shorter guys, though,
F you guys.
The shorter dudes, they love LeBron. Sorry, sports. Sorry, sports.
That's why Sports and Fitness yell so much.
I'm sure you got some hops. You can get up there, so you can get up there. So it's cool. You athletic dude, so I'm sure you can get out there. You can box out. You know what to do.
What's point number 2, Larry?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. Point number 2 is the Skip Bayless thing, right? I feel like his downfall, if people remember when Jenny Tapp was on the show, right? And he was talking about, I think he was talking about Jamarcus Russell or somebody was talking about that was overweight. And he started throwing the fat stuff out there. And when he threw that fat stuff out to Jenny Tapp, checked them live on TV. I was like, oh, I love Jenny. She checked them live on TV about like the fat shaming. And that was from that point on, it seemed like even Shannon was like, oh, I'm not even gonna mess with that. And even from that point on, with him and Jenny got into it, it's been going down. It went downhill from that point. It wasn't necessarily when he's like, take your glasses off and try to disrespect Shannon on air. It was when he did that.
That was Mike McCarthy. That was Mike McCarthy he disrespected.
Yeah, it was Mike McCarthy. Right. And he did that fat shaming, and that was the beginning of the end. I saw the writing on the wall when Jenny left the show shortly after that and went straight into college football. So she was disturbed by that. So I knew when he disturbed her and he with the fat shaming, it was all downhill from there. So Skip Bayless has made a career out of pissing off athletes, and this is what you get from that. Do
you agree that there's a racial component to it as well? Because I remember when he would go back and forth with the 2 Live Stews, and that's like when the whole kind of just like race baiting thing started. Do you agree that there's like a racial component to it as well? The whole master slave situation.
Nah, he's attacked everybody. He called John Aikman gay. He was throwing that around when John Aikman was playing during his like heyday. He was throwing around the fact that John Aikman was gay. Troy Aikman was gay. He's kind of attacked everybody. He's just glazed a bunch of guys, Brady's and the Tebows, but he's kind of attacked all athletes, black or white. He kind of just plays the game, the cards he's dealt, so to speak. He might come off as racist at times, but I honestly believe.
Oh, I don't think he is at all. I don't think he's racist at all. I think the perception of him yelling at Shannon Sharpe on national television pissed off a ton of African American people, and they started at the top. I really do think that was a piece of it.
Mike Lowry, thank you so much for your support and for calling in. Sports and Fitness Rants. You want to chime in on the obesity problem with?
I don't want to get into that. This ain't the venue for that. I have a whole separate part of my channel that I do. But I can't believe how many of these weird LeBron James people we have in the chat right now. Why don't you guys call the link? Call the link up. Stop talking in the comment section. You guys are saying that I'm on steroids, but you got nothing to say about LeBron James? You guys, once again, you guys don't understand me, man. Understand my lifestyle. You guys are out there making excuses for yourself. This guy's sports talk is hogging all of the limelight down here in the chat. This guy's just typing. Your fingers got to be hurting, my man. Why don't you do us all a favor? Put your face on camera, make a video, and explain everything those nonsense you're talking about. This dude is talking all kinds of nonsense out there. And then of course, we got basketball GOAT back again, because any channel that has GOAT in it, you know it's a LeBron James channel. These guys are clowns. They're so unoriginal. Every channel is GOAT James or GOAT this or the kingdom of that. You guys are a bunch of jokes, man. You guys have no originality, just like LeBron James. You guys have no creativity, just like LeBron James. You guys are soft, just like LeBron James, man. You guys have no balls, man, just
If
like
only-
LeBron James.
If only steroids would make you taller too, huh?
Crazy, man. Crazy. These guys are upset they can't do what I do at 43 years old, man. These guys are probably 18, 19 years old, and that's why they don't want to put themselves on camera, because they're embarrassed with how they look, man. So they're going to tell me that I'm on steroids because they don't understand how someone of my age could do the things that I'm doing on video that I've been doing for all these years of my life. It's an absolute joke. Once again, they're making excuses like LeBron James does. They play the victim like LeBron James.
With Lerv?
Yes, sir.
You're on. Which topic you want to talk about?
The one that you're on right now with the Skip Bayless. I called him before, but I was listening to you talk about Bayless, and my take on Bayless is I don't think he was ever a LeBron hater or a Jordan lover per se. He knows, or he knew back then, even in the Cole Pizza days, it was going to get him a lot of views to go against the Kang or whatever. And I think he played on that, and it's kind of fading out now. Man, he wants to try to give LeBron his flowers right at the end, and he's kind of coming off double-minded. He's kind of I don't think he was ever a LeBron hater. I think he was what you call a controlled opposition the whole time.
Well, listen, after what we saw in the 2011 finals, how could somebody not go off on that? I mean, that was the worst performance we've ever seen from a pro athlete. If nobody said anything, that would have been even weirder than the fact that Skip Bayless called it out. I mean, what was he supposed to do? Compliment it? It was ridiculous.
They've got to do that, but he's got to be there. Somebody like him is the face of it, but I think somebody like that has to be there because it can't look too obvious that the whole tide is going with LeBron and has been for, as you know, for a long time. So there's got to be somebody on that kind of platform or status that's going to push back a little bit, but we can see it's disingenuous. We can see he's kind of faking the funk a little bit, and now we can see it for clear now, or for sure now.
Well, that was my point. It was like, what platform do you mean? Honesty? I mean, now we have to have special platforms where an analyst is actually going to tell the truth. That's what's unfortunate. And I can understand why it would be tempting. Like, here's someone whose career is being threatened because you can't exist in the media anymore unless you're sucking off LeBron James. But he could have maybe created a side career as the only guy, the guy who stood up against mainstream media and continued to be hardcore. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have worked.
I don't think he has that kind of fortitude, man. I don't really think you can do that. There's some people like you guys that kind of are playing that role, if I can say that. Like, there has to be somebody on quote unquote the street level, but I don't think somebody on those kind of levels or that kind of platform or status, I don't really think they can be genuinely against that because that's where the tide is going. That's what they want you to believe. And you can see it's working with people that are younger. It's like the Jay-Z thing. I said that about Jay-Z years ago, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Right after Biggie died, I remember this. Jay-Z just kept saying he was the best alive. I'm the best rapper ever. I'm the best rapper ever. And I'm like, man, people are going to start believing this. He's not the best rapper ever. I knew that. But now, when you ask people now, that's what they say. He's the GOAT of rap. But he's not. But he said it for 20 years.
It does help.
I like Nas better. I mean, hey, with all respect to Jay, I like Nas better. So yeah.
I do too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, by the way,
thank you for calling in. We lost Dart. Did you get booted or did you take a break? Anyway, Dart was in the waiting room and he's back on, but he's not speaking. Hey, I wanted to thank Nick. Nick sent some Caledonian dollars and thanks. And thank you for calling in. Dart, are you there or what?
These guys are so funny in the chat.
Philosopher Stoned.
Call up, fools. Call up, you fools. Call up. Stop being scared.
Philosopher Stoned.
What's going on, y'all?
What up, man?
Yes, sir.
Let us know what's on your mind.
Well, I just wanted to say, again, thanks for doing what you guys do, keeping it real. Just wanted to get to the point with the whole Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
I find it so interesting when you look at the way that they did Canada versus the way they did the US, because they put Canada in the toughest groups.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put the US in the easiest group. And I'm like, well, why would you do? Oh, so they don't play Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so what it's looking like it's going to shape up to be is going to be a France final versus the USA. Unless they can't get past Germany again, because I think last time they played Germany, they lost. So I just wanted to get y'all thoughts on how you think the final is going to go. Yeah.
Cool. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go briefly. I mentioned, we were talking about that earlier, and I mentioned the same thing you brought up, man. You're around the money with this stuff. This is what they've been doing. They've been manipulating this stuff. And like I said, I'm not saying they're rigging it for the United States or for LeBron James, but I know it's the same thing that you did. They put the United States in the easier pool play. And once again, that makes us look bad. We're the United States. This is American basketball. We should be going against the hardest pool play. We should have to go against the hardest teams, man. Once again, this goes back to 92 Dream Team. The reason they were beating teams by 30, 40, 50 points is because they respected the competition. They didn't lollygag on those guys. They respected them so much that they beat them down. They went out there to beat them down. The United States now, they don't play with that same fire. And you're right, man. They're in an easier pool, man.
I don't know how we ever prove anything like this, because they'll say that it's random. All I know is that I would have enjoyed watching it if they'd been in a tougher pool.
I mean, when you're the best, essentially, you're supposed to draw the toughest route. Like, you're not supposed to get a cakewalk. You're supposed to go against the top-notch teams.
I don't know.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
There you are.
Dark.
Hey, thank you for Philosopher Stoned. Appreciate it very much.
Yo, thanks a lot, man. That's a great point he made.
So I saw this guy in the comments talking about 40,000 points, and yet LeBron is still not even a top 10 scorer amongst
Robin,
the elite.
you forgot to mention with the LeBron James fans that they don't read. Or
They can't, no, Dark, they can't read. How can they? They can't read.
Speam,
They can't.
you're muted, dude. Speam Engine, you're muted.
I didn't mute him.
No, Dart, it's not that they don't read, they can't read. Like they're mentally incapable of reading. They can't.
They fake
Yeah, that's
read.
why they say these stupid things. I mean, listen to what they're saying in the chat. You got these same three idiots.
Stop,
and it's funny.
stop,
All they do is compliment themselves. They just
Is that better?
complimenting themselves.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hey, for those of you who are interested in calling in or talking, we covered why it's offensive for LeBron James to be compared to activists such as Ali, or him painting a picture of himself next to Dr. King. We didn't really touch that much about the woulda, shoulda, coulda people. Ja Morant was one of the more recent people to say, I would have cooked Jordan, and yet Ja still hasn't done a damn thing in his career. Team USA, can you criticize your own country? The demise
Hey, AOH, Uncut Hoops asking you a question in the chat.
Oh,
He
okay.
said, AOH, any thoughts on Curry being turned into Kyle Korver in the system on Team USA?
Wow. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one. I mean, Curry hasn't been shooting terribly well, but I'll take this further than Curry. As much as they're glorifying LeBron James, what is it that LeBron James does that any NBA player couldn't fulfill the role of on that team? You know, you have Noah Eagle and Dwayne Wade telling you that dribbling the ball and passing to the dude right next to you is mind-blowing intelligence. You have LeBron James cheating back so that he can receive the outlet pass being called fast and hustle. You have him shooting layups 90% of the time, contributing to his scoring. Who can't do that? Who can't do that? Forget Curry having his role demised. Everybody's role is being demised. And LeBron James is playing big minutes every single game. And when the NBA season comes around, he's going to go right back to having fake injuries whenever he wants to have a fake injury. He doesn't need to be playing these minutes. We don't need him.
See, this is what I was talking about during the regular season. And I tell people that LeBron James should be playing 20, 25 minutes in a regular season in the NBA and giving the max effort on both sides of the ball. That would make the team much greater. When Uncut Hoops asked the question, he talks about Steph Curry, being relegated, just standing around in the system, man. Everyone is doing it. When you think about LeBron James, who has he ever improved? Who has he made better? None of these guys on the Olympic team are actually better playing with LeBron James in that system, man. These guys don't know anything, man. So, Uncut Hoops, man, you're right about that. None of these guys have looked great. Like, you would think, if you think about the 92 Dream Team, all of those guys look great playing together. The camaraderie, the way they pass the ball around, Magic, Bird, Stockton, Jordan, Clyde Drexler, David Robinson, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, all these guys were showing their skills. What do you see with this team, man? None of these, they look discombobulated half the time.
Exactly.
Standing on the three-point line, he don't know what the hell to do. You got Steph Curry not knowing what to do. Thank God they don't put Kevin Durant and LeBron James at the same time most of the time. They don't start Kevin Durant because he wouldn't know what to do.
Think about this. Most of us are disappointed watching these NBA stars, and we're like, aren't these guys better than this? If LeBron James made teammates better, we should be saying, oh my God, I didn't know he could do this. We should be seeing sides of players that we didn't even know existed because he's bringing it out in them. Instead, we're like, now everybody's just blah, blah.
AOH, you're forgetting he's made one player better. Real quick, Matthew Dellavedova, the one player LeBron made decent.
I will slap you when I see you in real life. I will slap you.
That was his effort that gave him that play. Matthew Dellavedova earned his money in those finals, man. They had to put this man on oxygen on the sideline because he was giving so much effort running around following Steph Curry. But what do the LeBron James fans do? They give Dellavedova no credit. They give Timothy Mozgov no credit. If you go back and watch the 2015 NBA Finals, Timothy Mozgov was balling out of control. He was playing way above his head. He was actually helping LeBron James.
Yeah.
So was Matthew Dellavedova played so good, and he was giving such an effort that he forced Steph Curry into like 5 turnovers a game, and he didn't even get a Finals MVP.
Yeah.
Steph Curry didn't even get a Finals MVP in a series, and they still beat LeBron James.
It's mind-blowing how far. I mean, Miami is an easy choice, but like digging into the Cavaliers era and the disrespect and the claim that those guys weren't good is like a documentary within itself. Dart, I keep hearing you try to talk. I don't know what's wrong with your audio, but I only hear a word every now and then.
It's because Restream. It's my mic is not as loud as yours. I'm trying to say. So I got to get going.
Okay.
But I wanted to say something about this real fast with LeBron making everyone better. Dwayne Wade is saying that he's making everyone better, and the entire Team USA team is saying he's the best on the team. So that must be true. I mean, I don't know what you guys are smoking. These guys say it's true, so it's got to be true.
We have the poster child of someone getting worse when LeBron James joined his team, saying that he makes people better. So I guess we can't find truth in anybody. We have Niall. We have Niall in the waiting room. Dart, thank you for popping in. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Dart.
Absolutely.
Yep. Hello, guys.
Niall, you're on.
Yeah, I had to chime in because you guys were talking. This is not on LeBron. You guys are talking about sports and fitness is on steroids. Why don't you watch his fitness videos and get in shape like I did? Like I don't watch his videos. That's like it's preposterous.
I really appreciate
I tell you,
that,
sport and fitness.
Have you seen his body? I mean, if that's what steroids do for you, I won't ever buy any.
Hey, I had to just call in just for that because that man alone got me in shape. So
that's awesome. I mean,
man, listen, I just want to say, man, that is truly humbling, man, for you to say that. You know, I've always told people, if I only helped one person better themselves, then my channel was a success. So thank you, because you've made my channel a success. And I see a lot of other people in the comment section, Angela Jacobs, I see some other people, Samaya K, supporting me in the chat about the steroid stuff, and I'm on cocaine because I got all this energy, man. You guys know the deal. The people who follow my channel, the people that know about what I represent. I don't even drink alcohol, but they're over here telling me I do all this other stuff.
All they gotta do is watch the videos. Do it for yourselves, guys. Do it for yourselves. And HOH, you keep doing God's work. Keep your foot on that guy's neck. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
They want to
Thank
take
you.
shortcuts like LeBron. That's why.
Hey, you know what? We spend time talking about basketball because people enjoy talking about basketball. But Robin, if you're changing people's lives health wise, then you're doing the real work on YouTube. That's real value.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that AOH. Like I said, it means a lot, man. I'm very humbled by that guy coming on here, man. Damn, like I said, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm feeling like, you know, a certain way about that, you know, the way he said that, you know, I helped him to be better. You know, thank you. It's crazy because that's when my channel originally started, as me doing these short 60-second shorts of me just yelling in my garage or yelling outside and just, you know, trying to help people to get out there and get moving, man. So like I said, it means a lot.
Now you shout for hours on cocaine and steroids. It's amazing.
That's right.
Dart the Common. Dart the Common, you have been brought in. Do you have a specific comment about a specific topic?
No, I just have two questions for you guys, if that's okay. One's rather short.
Okay.
So my first question is do any of you have a hard time rooting for the United States in the Olympics, knowing that LeBron James is on that team and he's going to get all the credit despite everybody else on that team?
I think you know the answer.
No, listen, I'm rooting for the United States. I've always told everybody, man, I root for my country, man. I'm a huge supporter of the United States. Like I said, I fought for this country, man. Once again, is it a perfect country? Absolutely not. But this is home, man. There's no place I'd rather be. So I'm rooting for you. I watch the Olympics. I know a lot of people are not into the Olympics and things like that. I watch the Olympics. I watch almost any event that's on, and I root for the United States. I don't care if LeBron James wins a gold medal. It means nothing. I'm rooting for the USA, man. I hope they win.
Do you want the United States to win because of the referees, though?
No, and that's what we're talking about.
Oh.
Hold the United States to the standard. If we're supposed to be the greatest team at basketball, which is proof of all the gold medals we won through all these years of competition, even when we didn't have professionals, we were still winning gold medals. So yes, we should be held to the highest standard.
Dart the Common, you had a second part?
Yeah, so my second question is I'm not as old as you guys. I didn't have the pleasure of watching Jordan play, but I've had the pleasure of watching, that's not really a pleasure, of watching LeBron play. So my question is for these LeBron fanatics that love to say that he's the GOAT, how can I prove this knowing that there's not really much out there that I can really look up for Michael Jordan's film other than his highlight reels that hype him up?
That's not really that true. I've been enjoying watching old games on YouTube.
Hey, Dart the Common, just simplify it this way. You can't scheme around Michael Jordan. You can scheme around LeBron. If you take one thing away from Michael Jordan, he has three other options that he can defeat you with. If you play drop coverage on LeBron and don't allow him to get to the goal, you've defeated him. Go look at how the Golden State Warriors played him, the Mavericks, the Spurs, and the who am I missing? Celtics. Just go watch how they played it. They would literally play drop coverage coming off the pick and roll because they did not believe in his jump shot. Nobody played Michael Jordan like that, because if they did, Michael Jordan would go for 60. Like, you would literally have to put two people on Michael Jordan and he still would convert and shoot. Again, a stat that they love, efficiently from the field. And this is taking predominantly jump shots. We know LeBron's efficient at the rim. He's horrible away from the rim. His shooting splits are atrocious. So when they get to talking and trying to concoct a narrative, just say, hey, how good does LeBron shoot past the rim? Trust me, they will not be able to give you a sufficient answer.
Oh, I brought that up. They just sit there and they bold-faced lie about it, or they don't look it up, or they don't know.
Hey, go check the shooting splits in the finals. Jordan shoots 36% from three-point land in the finals. LeBron shoots 35%. So on the biggest stage, right, where you need your best player to show up, Jordan still outdoes him in that category.
Okay, will do. Thank you for the tips.
Thank you for calling in. Appreciate it. Yeah, I just enjoyed watching the 95 Rockets and Knicks because YouTube suggested it to me. And can I just say, as sad as it was to lose Jordan, we still had matchups like that to enjoy. Hakeem and Ewing, Drexler and Starks and Mason and Oakley, they were all still out there battling. I mean, things were good back then. We just didn't know I just didn't know how bad it was going to become.
Hey, self-research NBA facts. Yes, if LeBron's competition played in the 90s, yeah, they'd be a 25-24 win team. That is absolutely true.
Robin, what else?
What else? We can keep going with these fools in the chat. You know what I'm here to do. You know what I'm here, man. These fools out here not saying anything intelligent. They're talking a bunch of nonsense, man. I mean, I can't even believe a lot of this stuff, man. They out here talking about the 80s. They're talking about Michael Jordan this, Michael Jordan that. I'm still waiting for you guys to make the videos. Where are your videos at? You guys never want to make videos to support LeBron James. You're over here crying about us. This guy's over there. I bet you can't go a day without making a LeBron James video. You guys are such crybabies, man, just like LeBron James, man. You're over here talking about, oh, it's your opinion that you think someone's the GOAT. Listen, if I'm telling you that I don't respect LeBron James, it ain't got nothing to do with him being the GOAT. I don't respect him as a man or a basketball player. They keep talking about who did Michael Jordan beat in the finals better than the 2017 or the 2018 Warriors. I'm sorry, did LeBron James beat those teams in the finals? And who the hell are the 2017 Warriors? They're not as great as they want you to believe. Once again, they're making excuses for all the losses for LeBron James. That same Warriors team was getting beat by 25 points in the second half in the Western Conference Finals Game 1. They were getting blown out by Kawhi Leonard and LaMarcus Aldridge. And what happened? Zaza Pachulia took his knee out. So let's think about 2018. Who the hell did they beat to get to the finals, the Warriors? They beat the James Harden Rockets? Are you kidding me right now? James Harden is nobody. He's a goof. He's a playoff choker. The Warriors are not impressive to me, man. They are nowhere on the level of some of the teams that the Bulls were playing. If you just focus on the Eastern Conference alone, who did LeBron James beat in the Eastern Conference? Who? He beat nobody on his way to the finals. Then you have one guy saying, how is LeBron James a loser? How is he a loser? He's lost more than he won, you fool.
For the viewers waiting to get on, I keep putting the link in the chat just so you guys know. That's where to look to figure out where to call in. I guess we've got viewers, we've got people watching, but unless you want to call in, I think we've pretty thoroughly covered the topics. Although I'll say, I heard yesterday when I was getting ready to talk about Skip, because believe it or not, I'm not that big of a Skip Bayless fan. I didn't follow him in the old day, but I heard that his whole hip hop thing was construed in recent history. So did he not do this back in the day? And if it's all construed, then shouldn't Lil Wayne have taken a hit for being a part of this facade? No, I'm serious.
That's hilarious.
I think that relationship is legitimate. I think they're
like, really friends.
No, I do. That's like when Bill Murray was banging Khalees or whatever Nas's ex's name is. It's just like they're just random pairing that works. Also, I want to mention sports. When I left, you were yelling. I did like 2 or 3 things. I came back and you were still yelling. So I also appreciate your energy that I know is drug free.
Self-researched NBA Facts is here, and Philosopher's Stone, to see you are calling back. You'll come on after self-research. Go ahead.
Jim, my man, Jim.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, what's up, Jim?
How you guys doing? I'll be brief. The Skip Bayless thing, the whole media thing, to me is not really a hard thing to figure out. You know how Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, they used to trash LeBron all the time, but then as soon as they started with the podcast, and then Pierce got on Fox, they did a 180 on that. I mean, it's like getting a job at MSN and think that you're going to talk up Donald Trump and talk bad about Kamala Harris. You know it's not going to happen. So it's easy. LeBron is the Kamala Harris for ESPN and Fox. It's that simple.
But here's the trickier part. If he had been brave enough to say, I'm going to go my own way, would he have gotten buried, or could he have risen as even bigger because he's this guy over here in the independent realm?
Where'd Jim go?
I don't know.
Oh.
I did not mute him.
Well,
he left.
All right.
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You got me?
I do.
Yeah.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to say is people in the chat earlier talking about, how if a team doesn't have a bunch of Hall of Famers or top 75 players, then it wasn't a good team. Been hearing that for years. That's a Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp talking point. Well, then explain to me, because this is a very fair comparison. Patrick Ewing played 15 years for the Knicks, never played with a top 75 player, only played with the Hall of Famer for 6 games in his whole career. That was Bernard King in 1987 in his whole Knicks career. He beat 9 top 75 players. LeBron James, outside of Miami, in 17 years, beat 7 top 75 players. And he went to the final 6 times. Make that make sense to me, LeBron people.
It's so dumb. I mean, I appreciate I appreciate why it frustrates you, but it's just absurd. I mean, you get a group of average guys that are well coached. I read Blood on the Floor about Madison Square Garden and Pat Riley, and they would make it sound like Pat Riley just trained them so fucking hard that they were going to win, even though they shouldn't have won. Well, isn't that cooler than a bunch of Hall of Famers that team up together and then still fail?
Right. Absolutely. They can't answer these questions, man. LeBron James has never won an NBA championship off a super team. When you hear people in the comments, oh, LeBron James won 4 championships. He won 4 championships on stacked teams that he put together. He ain't win 1 legit championship. No one respects LeBron James 4 titles. Who did LeBron James beat in 2020? The number 8 seed Miami Heat with a hurt Bam Adebayo and a hurt Jimmy Butler, Goran Dragic. All these guys were injured. When you talk about the competition that Michael Jordan did or didn't go against, it doesn't add up. Once again, Michael Jordan, he beat the teams that he was supposed to be 24-0 in the postseason with home court advantage, which means he was never upset once, never once upset. So he never lost when he was supposed to win. When people talk about, oh, Michael Jordan was the favorite, he was the favorite. Okay, if Michael Jordan was always the favorite, he did what he was supposed to do. He won those games. LeBron James was a preseason favorite to win the title so many years, and he failed. They completely failed. So LeBron James ain't living up to the hype, man.
Yeah. On Cleveland, 11 years on Cleveland, the only top 75 players he ever beat was Jason Kidd on the 41 and 41 Nets in 07 and Steph Curry in 2016. Look it up. No other 75 players. That's a fact.
Oh, damn.
That recent Pistons champion team does not get enough credit.
No, they don't.
Like overall of all time. That's like the last team. I feel that's won a chip.
And LeBron never beat them when they had Ben Wallace. He could only beat them when Ben Wallace got traded.
Ben Wallace was at that rim, baby.
Yeah.
He wasn't top 75, but yeah, exactly. But, I think the argument's stupid. It doesn't matter. Like Clyde Drexler's another guy. Before he went to Houston, I played 11 years with the Trailblazers. He beat 7 top 75 players in 11 years. He never played with a Hall of Famer. It doesn't matter. He had Buck Williams, Jerome Kersey, Terry Porter. He had a squad. But because they're not a Hall of Famer, they're somehow sucked now. It's the stupidest, ridiculous narrative.
Yeah, and how many people start down there and then become Hall of Famers because they played their hearts out and were with a teammate who made them better? I mean,
no, absolutely.
James ain't make nobody a Hall of Famer. You can clearly see that Michael Jordan helped make Scottie Pippen a Hall of Famer.
LeBron made his opponents Hall of Famers. He made them look bad.
That's a good one.
LeBron has actually removed guys who were making the All-Star team from making the All-Star team. That's what he did for his teammates.
No, AOH, he literally made Jason Terry look like he got robbed of Finals MVP. That's how great he made Jason Terry.
I said when I was breaking down that video, I was like, is Jason Terry the fastest player in the NBA? Because he was going around LeBron like he was in cement.
He like LeBron could not guard a parked car with an AK-47. That's how ridiculous like Jason Terry made him look.
All right, I'll let the next caller in. I'm out. See you guys.
Yo, Jim, thanks a lot, man.
All right, sir.
Well, guys, I think we've about beaten this to death.
Yeah, I gotta wrap it up in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, so go ahead. Callers, this is your last chance to call in. I'll put the link up one more time. We'll start going around. We'll go counterclockwise. Hoops God, final statements about the topics we talked about today?
As far as the tough versus being dirty. Again, I think there's a huge separator there. Like you can be a very physical defense, but also still play within the lines of the dirty defense. You know, that's like you're purposely trying to injure somebody. I've never agreed with that. Being a patriot and still criticizing Team USA, yes, I believe you can. I mean, that's again like sports and fitness city. You're holding yourself to a standard, and if you don't, that's like you're doing yourself a disservice. Because if we're supposed to be the standard, right, then it's not. There's not anything below that. Like, no, we're at the top tier. We're the top of the mountain. So I expect nothing but greatness. You know, if you're going to speak against every situation going on. If you're not, you just be quiet. You know. And as far as LeBron James being an activist, I forgot the guy who came in, but he said it perfectly. LeBron is a Twitter activist. He's never been out in the community with the people trying to improve like the problems that are going on. He's never been about that. We know Ali customarily went into the neighborhood and conversed with the people and dialogued and gave back. LeBron's never done that. He's a product of Nike. They're putting him on this pedestal, but unfortunately, it's not working because people can see through the nonsense, you know, with the rise of technology and, you know, of course, the independent content creators is like, come on, man, this dude is manufactured. There's nothing about him authentic. So I overall enjoyed the topic, man. I sincerely get a kick out of this.
And I said that I would give callers one more try, and we have a caller. Yes, sir.
Oh, hey, everybody.
You are on.
Hey, bro.
Hey, I ain't got too much to say because I felt like the topic has been exhausted already. But it's too much lying out here. People are insulting our intelligence on TV every day. And I'm glad people in the chat and people like you are just saying, I'm just saying thanks. And I ain't got a question, just saying thanks because everything I wanted to say has already been said. So.
Yeah,
thanks a lot, man.
We beat these to death, but we appreciate your support.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man.
D, we got another caller. D, you are on. D, you are off. Okay, Speed Engine, you're next.
My momentum's gone now. Shit. There was something. Actually, the last caller reminded me.
Get yourself some cocaine. You'll be fine.
No, that's what I was out doing. The thing is like our standards have lowered just across the board, and it's not even just what's going on with the Olympics is a microcosm of that. It's a win-win for LeBron. If they win, he's a gold medalist. If they lose, when he sits out 26 games next season, they'll say it's because he played in the Olympics or played in these games. And if you can't see that now, you're crazy. And the second he stopped being as profitable, all this stuff started coming to the light. It's as black and white as you can possibly be, but people deny it or find weird arguments about it. That's it.
Very good. Sports and fitness rants.
All right, now bear with me here. I'm gonna go off for a couple minutes. All right, bear with me here.
Oh, I better go
I want
first
to talk
then.
about a couple things real briefly that I noticed. But first, let's get through everything that we talked about, the Dwayne Wade, the Noah Eagle nonsensical broadcasting and the weird things that these guys say, lying to the fans out there, not educating people, right? So we get all of that. Once again, we don't have to root for LeBron James to root for Team USA. I don't have to support LeBron James to support Team USA. And once again, we're holding these guys to the standard of the 92 Dream Team. That's the problem for a lot of people. They don't seem to get that. We're holding them to that standard. They always want to lower the bar for anything LeBron James related, man. Once again, LeBron James, you're lowering the bar of Muhammad Ali and the standard that he set, his life or his legacy, all those things. You've lowered him down to dirtbag LeBron James. He should never be compared to a Muhammad Ali or be called the modern day Ali. He should have never had a mural alongside Martin Luther King. Now, for the LeBron James fans in the chat, let's get a couple things straight here, all right? Number one, I saw somebody saying something that LeBron James was only the quote-unquote favorite in like 3 of his 10 finals. You expose LeBron James when you say that. Why is LeBron James the greatest player of all time? Why is he not the favorite to win? You know why he's never the favorite? Because his teams underachieved in the regular season. If you go back and look at LeBron James' career and you look at the preseason favorites coming into the season, LeBron James was a preseason favorite many, many times, but his teams failed miserably. So all this stuff, oh, LeBron James wasn't a favorite, all that does is take away from LeBron James' greatness. The reason why Michael Jordan and the Bulls were favored several times in the NBA, not every time, but several times in the finals, was because of Michael Jordan. They were literally favored because no one, who the hell's betting against Michael Jordan? That's called being smart. That's called understanding the game. Michael Jordan, the greatest closer in the history of the game, always known for raising his level of play. So you expose LeBron James when you say he wasn't the favorite. Why was he not the favorite? I saw someone say something about Michael Jordan in the 80s. They keep talking about Michael Jordan in the 80s, the stats he put up while losing to the Pistons. Let's understand something. When you compare him to LeBron James in the 2009 season or the 2010 season, Michael Jordan never lost in the postseason on a team that won 60-plus games. LeBron James, Cleveland Cavaliers won 66 games, and they still failed to make the finals, even though they were the favorite to beat Orlando. So once again, the whole favorite, not favorite, exposes LeBron James, man. And we talk about the numbers that Michael Jordan was putting up while losing to the Detroit Pistons. Once again, these people don't have a leg to stand on. Michael Jordan was getting beat up physically and was going against the Jordan rules. Once again, not playing with anyone yet that was developed yet. But did Michael Jordan run from the Chicago Bulls? Did he make them trade Phil Jackson or get rid of Phil Jackson? No. He stayed there and grinded it out, man. So you guys, once again, sound ridiculous right now when you bring up Michael Jordan and you try to talk about his losses in his years grinding up into the winning. LeBron James ducked the grind. That's why you guys don't understand that. And I want to shout to everybody in the chat, man, that supports my channel. All you people out there have been supporting my fitness videos. Did you guys know the deal, what I'm standing on, man? So much respect. Shout out to everybody in the panel, man. Hoop God, my man, Steam Engine. AOH, once again, it's been a pleasure, and we continue to do this, man. Thank you, guys.
You know, one of the reasons Robin is speaking like that is because he covers entire arguments and tries to do it within seconds, but he spits a lot out there. You got to take it and break it all down because he actually has a lot of information condensed into a very fast, very small amount of time. So you guys, thanks for joining. We flirted with some controversial stuff without getting too crazy, but it's hard to talk about patriotism and softness without talking about politics and the state of society. I'll play the neutral person here because I see even people in the chat's names have political things in them. Whatever softness people want to attribute and the decline that's been taking place, you don't get to place it on a political party, in my opinion. Like, this is not something that started when someone entered office 4 years ago or 8 years ago or 12 years ago. This was a snowball at the top of a mountain a long time ago that has been allowed to get bigger for a very long period of time. Pretending that it happened starting at exactly a period of time ago is denial, and that's not going to solve the problem. You know what YouTube put in my feed recently was The Man Show. You guys remember The Man Show? You guys know The Man Show? 1992, these guys are coming on TV and saying that masculinity is being threatened and that we're getting too PC. So this, this has been going on for a long time. Anyway,
didn't that show have chicks on a trampoline?
Oh yeah,
that's where we were back then, and nobody said a damn thing. Nobody complained about it. Damn it.
Well, that was their point. They were like, we're going to do the exact opposite of what you people are saying is allowed. Gentlemen, thanks for joining. Callers, thanks for calling in. Super chatters, thank you. And we'll be back next Wednesday.
Indeed.